President Biden's recent plans on the conflicts in the Middle East have caught people's attention and infuriated Benjamin Netanyahu beyond bounds. The United States has officially backed a two-state solution for the Middle East conflict for many years. But after numerous failed talks, ongoing violence, and political unrest, the idea of a peaceful coexistence between Palestine and Israel feels more like empty promises. However, recently the Biden administration has started to change its tune. So what exactly is Biden saying, and could this be a significant step forward in diplomacy? Let's take a closer look. The Middle East has been going through some pretty dark times, facing massacres, war, disease, hunger, and regional escalation. However, just before October 7th, the US was trying hard to make a big deal happen between Israel and Saudi Arabia.
We have a good negotiations continue. Till now, we gotta see where it will go.
The Biden administration was actively working towards a historic agreement where Saudi Arabia and Israel would establish friendly relations after years of tension. This initiative was a priority, especially with the 2024 elections approaching.
I got it done. Now we're rebuilding America.
The plan was for Saudi Arabia to officially recognize Israel, and in return, the U.S. would promise to protect Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia also wanted help from the United States to start a nuclear program for peaceful purposes and to make progress in solving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. However, talks were paused by Saudi Arabia in October due to Israel's war on Gaza, which has resulted in the deaths of over 30,000 Palestinians so far. While the talks have resumed, Saudi Arabia is now adamant that Israel must first end the war in Gaza and work towards putting Palestinians on a path towards statehood. However, the road has been challenging. So, what is Biden's perspective on all of this? Biden's primary objective was to secure a meaningful break in the fighting, aiming for a humanitarian pause lasting a month or two. This pause was crucial for facilitating the exchange of Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners. But beyond this immediate goal, there was a broader and more ambitious plan. He wanted to transform this temporary ceasefire into a lasting peace and finalize a regional peace agreement. This comprehensive deal involved several key components, including Israel's agreement to a Palestinian state. Saudi Arabia officially recognized Israel, efforts for Palestinian reform, and additional incentives from the United States to make the deal more appealing. The goal was to create a significant shift towards peace in the region. While the initial hope was to reach the goal before Ramadan, a month that holds great significance to Muslims, things didn't go quite as planned. On January 30th, Netanyahu stated firmly, "We will not remove the IDF from the Gaza Strip, and we will not release thousands of terrorists. None of this will happen." Instead, Israel was aiming for what they called absolute victory, and what some critics call absolute genocide. The pause, if it were to happen, would have been Netanyahu's moment of truth. The reason is that some of his conservative cabinet members don't want a long break in fighting, but other more practical voices in the smaller war cabinet, like former Defense Minister Benny Gantz, say freeing the hostages should come first, even if it means agreeing to a long or forever ceasefire. If either side changes their mind about the plan, Netanyahu might see his cabinet fall apart. This could lead to an early election where the polls say he might lose to Gantz. Even though America and Saudi Arabia both are working hard to finalize a normalization deal with Israel, let's not forget that despite his personal feelings towards Netanyahu, the president's instinct has been to stand by Israel. This stance has earned him popularity there, which he's used to try to ease the suffering caused by the war, such as by urging Israel to allow more humanitarian aid into Gaza. But there are some concerns on Biden's mind right now. If Netanyahu doesn't comply soon, Biden will face a difficult decision on whether to increase pressure on Israel. America has several ways to exert pressure, including private discussions. Biden could also publicly criticize Israel, halt or reduce military aid, and refrain from supporting Israel in hostile UN resolutions. Moreover, this year poses challenges for Biden as he must balance two political risks. One risk is that supporting Israel's war might alienate progressives, young voters, and Muslim Americans, particularly in key swing states like Michigan. The other risk is that pressuring Israel could push centrist and independents towards the strongly pro-Israel Republicans. Throughout history, there have been moments of tension between America and Israel, But previous presidents like Dwight Eisenhower and Ronald Reagan have taken actions against Israel for certain actions, such as during the Suez Crisis in 1956 or the bombing of an Iraqi nuclear reactor in 1981. George Bush Sr. also blocked loan guarantees due to the construction of Jewish settlements. Biden, however, has chosen a different path and twice vetoed Security Council resolutions related to the recent war and has sped up the delivery of weapons, infuriating many Arab diplomats. They hope that America will once again act as a big power, maybe try convening regional leaders for a conference in Washington, or by directly addressing Netanyahu in Jerusalem. Some wish for a new figure like James Baker, who orchestrated a coalition to expel Iraq from Kuwait in 1991 and later convened a peace conference in Madrid. While Baker's efforts didn't bring immediate peace, they set the groundwork for progress after the Israeli election of 1992. The Biden administration has been reluctant to meet these expectations, and it's currently dealing with the war in Ukraine and tensions with China over Taiwan. Therefore, America has been strategically maintaining its influence on Netanyahu while he's in office. However, recent events took an unexpected turn, even catching Netanyahu off guard and sending international media a buzz. But before diving into the latest developments, don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more informative content on the Biden administration and the US government. And now, over to internet breaking news. On Monday, March 25th, things got heated between the United States and Israel when the U.S. chose not to vote on a UN Security Council resolution for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. This decision greatly infuriated Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. He was so angry that he canceled a planned trip to the United States for two of his top advisors. In the past, the United States had blocked similar ceasefire proposals. However, last week they suggested a ceasefire resolution linked to freeing hostages. Sadly, Russia and China vetoed the resolution. The Biden administration then decided not to vote on Monday, allowing the new resolution to pass with overwhelming support from 14 out of 15 council members.
14 votes in favor, 0 vote against, 1 abstention. The draft resolution has been adopted as Resolution 2728, 2024.
The resolution was put forward by 10 non-permanent Security Council members and calls for an immediate ceasefire during Ramadan, the quick and unconditional release of hostages, and increased aid for the people of Gaza. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, explained that while the resolution was adjusted based on U.S. suggestions, they couldn't fully support it. She stressed that a ceasefire could have happened sooner if Hamas had been willing to free hostages, urging Hamas to agree to the current deal.
And we did not agree with everything in the resolution. For that reason, we were unfortunately not able to vote yes.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres emphasized how crucial it is to make this resolution work, calling it unforgivable if it fails. Both Hamas and the Palestinian Authority welcomed the resolution. However, Israeli Ambassador Gilad Erdan criticized it for not linking the ceasefire to the release of hostages, saying it hampers efforts for their release. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken wasn't too happy either and expressed disappointment as well. Israel Foreign Minister Israel Katz has also declared that Israel won't comply with the resolution. They vowed to keep fighting until all hostages are returned. Despite the challenges, American diplomats are vigorously pursuing a diplomatic breakthrough in the Middle East, although it remains an uphill battle. This is where America's grand strategies often meet an impasse, remarked one official, highlighting the slow pace of democracy in the region. For now, the focus is on laying the groundwork for future peace initiatives. The best course of action this year is to prepare the foundation. Real success might have to wait for the formation of a new Israeli government, changes with the Palestinian Authority, or even the possibility of a second term for President Biden. So what are your thoughts about all of these recent developments? Share them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.